And also, I sent you the link to the studio earlier, and it was like 12:04, and I'm like, "Where's Collins?" Twitter never sent the link.
Well, I was about to text you.
Yeah.
Hey, did you send the link?
Yeah, I was like, I sent it at like 11 a.m. because I made the studio at like 9. But anyway, guys, welcome to Wrestling Made Me Cry.
Oh, hey.
My name is Kiley.
and I'm Auntie Collins.
And it has been such a fun week in wrestling. Okay? Let me just say, I was behind on everything because I was out of town for work and I couldn't watch wrestling, which was a real bummer because I didn't get to see any of this fun stuff live, which...
I was texting you and I was like, this is the best episode of AEW. That was last week. And then this week.
I think it was.
Episode. Yeah.
So AEW Grand Slam Mexico was so good for like on so many levels. Like the wrestling, and then we'll throw Collision in there as well. Last night's Collision. The wrestling, the stories, the messaging, just the promos, especially Hangman Page. Just like everything was so good. And I really did get the feeling like that, like this is what makes AEW AEW. And obviously we're building to All In, so like the excitement is there. I'm really excited for, because every little thing that happened, especially last night, I don't know if you guys know, Kota Ibushi is back. But now every little show, every little moment matters on the build to All In, because AEW didn't, at least in my opinion, didn't drop any hints that Kota Ibushi was going to be on television. I didn't get any, like, you know, normally when someone's returning, you get a little bit of rumbling, you know? Like, people in promos will say something or whatever. There will be a video package. Nothing. And then he's there.
Which I kind of love. Last night's episode of Collision did hail from Seattle. And can I just tell you, I understand. Like when they go to Hoffman Estates, they call it Chicago.
Yes.
That's the equivalent. It's not Chicago. It's Hoffman Estates. So when they said Seattle, I was like, it's Kent. It's Kent. This is not Seattle.
That's like our equivalent is our baseball team, the Rays. They're the Tampa Bay Rays, but they don't play in Tampa Bay. They're like the only baseball team in like our little side of Florida.
Yeah.
Our coast. And they're like, this is the Tampa Bay Rays. And I'm like, they're from St. Petersburg.
Yeah. So I'll show you guys, for those who don't know, there's Seattle. Kent is all the way down here. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
it's close enough. It's all relative.
But then that, like, they did that with Everett, which Everett is in the opposite direction just as far.
It's all relative at the end of the day. Also, forgot my wrestling shirt of the day.
Ooh.
OG Forbidden Door.
Ooh.
Yeah, I got it. I obviously went to Forbidden Door because I was not going to miss Okada. And got the shirt. And it's really cute. On the back, it has the date. It says I was there. All the cute things. But I was digging through my closet because I was like, I got to pull out a rare one for y'all. I wasn't here last week. You got to see it. I've never worn this shirt on my body.
Oh.
Yeah. So special treat for y'all today.
Does it have like a I was there?
It does. On the back. And it has like the date. But it also has the AEW New Japan logos, which now Forbidden Door, she's a little bit bigger than that. So this is a little nostalgic for me. But yeah, that's my wrestling shirt of the day.
I love it. I'm not wearing a wrestling shirt. I am wearing a Captain Marvel shirt because it's a tank top. I need to do this, like cutting off the sleeves of more wrestling shirts.
Yeah, I did too. Because it's not that I have like big arms, but like my shoulders are broader and my arms are bigger than my body is, if that makes sense. So I end up like this shirt. It's not that this is tight, but it's like, am I explaining myself correctly?
I like to cut them off because I've been doing the gym now for 30 days, right? So I've been going more regularly, and the things that happen when you go to the gym aren't always like instantaneous, except they are showing up in my arms in a way that I'm like, I have to cut all the sleeves off of my shirts.
Yeah.
Because so I sit between, like, if I want like a actual, like my size, it's an XL. If I want a looser fit, it's a 2X. Those sleeves go all the way down here. Who's going to wear that to the gym when I'm pumping? You know what I mean?
Pumping
like
the iron, yeah.
So I just feel a little jacked right now that I just want to cut all the sleeves off my shirt.
No, I feel you. Because
I don't know.
Hold on. This is Lauren says Kiley too jacked for sleeves.
Yeah, Kiley too jacked.
I'm looking like Kota. That's how we both feel right now. That's how we both feel.
Yeah.
Because I'm a regular gym goer. I have been. It's good for your mental health. Everybody should do it. And so, but your body just changes. Sometimes it changes like so slowly that you don't really notice until you go to put on a shirt that you bought years ago, and you're like, huh, something is a little bit different here with myself.
But it's one of those things, because I go into an office, and a lot of my office outfits, a lot of my shirts, I wear like a little cardigan over, right?
Yeah.
And lately I've been like putting on my cardigans while they're knit sleeve. I feel a little like, okay. I feel a little like, who was in the Tooth Fairy movie?
The Rock.
The Rock.
Yes.
I feel a little like that. Like I'm not jacked by any means. I'm not you, but I'm getting there, and I'm seeing the differences lately. And it's like,
I don't even think that, I mean, I have a lot of muscle, but I would like, compared to someone like Ibushi, looked jacked when he came back.
I hope, I mean, we could talk about Ibushi all day long.
Yeah.
The symbolism of everything with him coming back, and they're just friends, but I hope that he took this time off to really heal, because both ankles broken.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen again, because did you watch that last match?
His last match before he broke his ankles?
Yeah, so bad.
Yes. And even before that, he felt a little, and I will take Kota Ibushi any way I can get him. Same. But before that, his wrestling felt a little more cautious in some ways. Like he was hurting a little bit, and he's getting older, so I get it. But this is like when Kenny came back from diverticulitis and was a rock star. And we say that we barely got to see Kota in his return.
Yeah.
But this felt like that. And like in the ring with Okada, having Kenny's back, it feels like a return to something that I've really been missing. Because we didn't know if Kota Ibushi would ever come back. Because even before the ankles, he was struggling with injuries.
Right. Mostly like his concussions, right? He was doing concussion after concussion.
Yeah. And like even before he was AEW, even in New Japan, it was a lot of injuries. And so to see him have an injury like that, which is so difficult and so rare, and like everything fell up in the air. And AEW, like I said, they didn't drop any hints that he was coming back. Nothing. To see him come back, and he looks good. He looks buff. He looks healthy. He's tan. He's doing the whole thing. I'm so excited.
He looks good. And I mean, what a wonderful way for him to come back. And it's like, Kenny, we didn't even talk about it. Kenny literally spitting blood. And that that whole segment, I'm sitting on the couch with my husband, because Wednesdays are usually our date night. So we go out to dinner, and then we watch the show after when we come back. And we're sitting there, and I'm going, what is going on? And then he spits up the blood, and I screamed so hard that the dogs woke up.
Yeah, it's scary.
And it's like, I expect that kind of, I mean, I get it. I'm working myself into something, right? However, the way he sold it, like, is he just going to keep selling like abdominal injury.
I hope not.
I'm just gonna cry the whole time. Sorry. By the way, what I was doing earlier is my eyes were already starting to water. So, and I forgot that I didn't set my under eyes. So
Makes sense. I figured, but
if you want to know, it's Kimchi Beauty or Kimchi Beauty. Sorry, and it's Puff Puff Pass powder. So, you know, it's some of the best ones that like I can cry and my makeup doesn't go anywhere.
And we need that for the show.
We need that.
We do.
I'm going to be drenched in it when we go to All In. Oh my God.
I can't stop thinking about it. The show is going to, like, the build is excellent. They're not dropping the ball on anything. Like, Tony and Mercedes is so good. Kenny and Okada is so good. I'm not going to be emotionally well.
Yeah, I think we have to do some check-ins, do some blood pressure, like go on some walks, like make sure that we're drinking water. And remember, folks, you can send in super chats right now if you would like to help the fund of the waters and the breaks that Kiley and I will be taking when we are at All In.
And you just know it's going to be a long show. They're going to put everybody and their mother on the card. And I'm fine with that.
Well, this last week, I posted my response to Athena's interview for Sports Illustrated with our dear friend, Rick, that she said, hey, I don't know if I'm on the All In card.
Yeah, she should be.
She should be. And I reposted it and I said, I literally a year ago, they did all of that promotion at Globe Life with Mercedes, Swerve, and Athena. Why would you use Athena in this monumental promo if she was not going to be on the show?
Yeah.
That would be embarrassing.
Yeah. And I think that they'll probably have some kind of women's multi-person match, something like that. Personally, have Athena in a singles and just give her anybody. Like,
absolutely.
People would be so excited for just a random opponent. It doesn't matter, like, ultimately who it is. Because if you put her in there with anybody, they're going to have a great match.
Right.
Especially because AEW still has a lot of high caliber women's talent that aren't booked. Because both of the titles, the main women's titles, are tangled up in one story. So, like, just have fun with it. I think we talked about this last show. Just have fun with it. Just go nuts. Just book her with someone, anybody, and get her on the show, and you'll sell tickets.
I think Tony Khan's biggest problem, especially with the women's division, is the fact that if there's not a title belt, he doesn't want to book the storyline.
Yeah.
And that he doesn't have that problem with men, because how many non-title matches with somebody versus Eddie Kingston did we get?
Yeah.
Someone versus MJF did we get? And oh my gosh, it stole the show, all these things. It's like, great, cool. There's no belt for it. However, why are we not booking Chris Statlander more? Why are we not booking Deonna Purrazzo?
Yeah.
Why are we not booking Taya Valkyrie? Why are we not booking Willow? Like, come on.
Yeah. And Athena has a title. So
for 900 plus days.
So, Tony, there's really no excuse for that at the end of the day, because you could just give her a challenger. I don't even mind at this point if Athena is on the pre-show, because the pre-show can be, hear me out, I have logic. The pre-show, the way it is these days, it can be kind of boring, because not that Renee and RJ, not that they're boring, but they just yap for so long, and there's so many video packages, and then you get to the matches and they're all short for the most part.
Right.
But I wouldn't mind a pre-show for a show this big that's a little bit longer. You can keep all the yapping segments, because you do have to entice people to buy the show. You have to show them what it's going to be. I get it. Give Athena half an hour on the pre-show.
That's what I'm saying is I saw people being like, oh, she's just going to be shuffled on the pre-show. And historically, those matches are less than 10 minutes I want everybody seated, paying attention, and engaged when Athena is in the ring, because she does some sort of magic, at least for me, that needs to be for that large audience.
Yeah.
She should be rewarded for 900 plus days as a Ring of Honor World Champion.
Yeah. And I think with the TBS and world titles wrapped up in one story, it's Tony versus Mercedes. And we all know my thoughts on that. I think it's a mistake, but that's fine. Athena is like, Athena should be your go-to for another women's match, because you'll have these multi-person matches. AEW always does them on their big shows. It's whatever. I don't care. But you have no TBS in the world. So Athena, like, you have a deep roster. You have Megan Bayne. You have Chris. You have Willow. You have Thunder Rosa. 4 opponents who could have, you give them 30 minutes with Athena, they're going to have the best match of their career.
Absolutely.
Especially someone like Megan Bayne, who came in hot and is still hot, still over, but needs a bump to get to the next step. Especially if we're going to take Megan Bayne and work her back up to title contention where she should be, which I think AEW wants her to be.
I agree.
This high-profile match would do wonders for her career. Or any of the other people that they keep bringing in. They keep signing women, which I'm all here for. I'm all here for signing as many women as you need, because the division still, numbers-wise, is small compared to the men's. So, like, just do it. Just do it. It's the biggest show of the year. It's a stadium show. You have so many people there. So many people are going to buy it because Omega and Okada are there. You use the draw of Omega Okada to show what you have to offer. You don't want to be known as the wrestling company that didn't book its women, which, going by, and I hate ratings and I hate demo, so hear me out here. Going by the demo information that was released about Grand Slam Mexico, the AEW's female audience is growing and they're carrying. Lean into it. You've given them a carrot. And you said, here, we are finally improving the women's division.
Right.
And we're also showcasing men's stories that aren't freaks. Like, you have these, you have Hangman and Swerve, and you have Omega and Okada, and you have good stories in the men's division that don't make women feel like they're victims. And then you have the women's division where women feel like they have agency and they're not just here to parade around and play pretend. Capitalize on your women's division. Put women on the card. Right? As many as you can, as many matches as you can, because people are going to come for Omega Okada. There's a lot of wrestling fans that loved New Japan in that era that didn't make the jump to AEW.
Right.
You put Omega Okada 5 on your card, the people will come, and Tony Khan has to know this.
Yeah.
So build your freaking audience, dude. You just had your highest rating in, like, whoever knows how long.
Yeah.
That's not even counting Max numbers.
Right.
So, like, buddy, look me in my eyeballs and tell me why you think having one women's match on a stadium show, your biggest stadium show in the US, why you think that's good enough. Genuinely. Absolutely.
I think AEW definitely has a problem because they're like, well, women's stuff doesn't draw, and Ring of Honor doesn't draw, so we're not going to book it. You book it. You're in charge of the booking. You tell people what to be excited about.
Yeah, and we have a super chat from Leon Ward. Thank you so much for the super chat.
Yeah.
Who says, every ROH male champion has worked in AEW pay-per-view. The longest reigning champion in ROH history deserves a singles match on the main card of All In, especially after being part of the promotion for it. And yes,
exactly.
100% valid. And you know what? The number of ROH male champions currently tangled up in AEW stories, not even just historically, like right now, is crazy. Mm-hmm. And Athena was for the Owen, and then they were like, "Okay, bye, Athena."
Yeah, they cooled it off real quick.
I don't know why. Thank you so much for the super chat. And I think I do think Athena on the main card should be a priority. I think I personally would do Athena, Megan Bayne, or Athena, Mina. not just because it rhymes, and just let them go wild.
Absolutely.
Because, okay, Tony Mercedes is going to be excellent wrestling, right?
Right.
Nobody doubts it. But you have other excellent wrestlers in the division. So, like, just do it. Just do it. Because you're going to book MJF in some nonsense anyway. He's going to be booked in some stupid match that nobody wants to see. So, you give me what I want. If I have to sit through MJF and the Hurt Syndicate, you can give me what I want. Which obviously what I want. Obviously what I want is Omega Okada, but something else that I want is Athena and Willow.
And I want to see new names. I mean, I want to see Red Velvet blossom. I want to see Billy Starks blossom. I want to see Queen Amanana blossom. I want to see Ty Mello and Anna Jay being a tag team, and I want tag team belts. I want women's wrestling to matter to Tony Khan, because the moment that he sees value in it is the moment that he starts putting it on TV. But what he doesn't realize is he's the one dictating if it has value or not.
Yes.
He's telling the fans what to value.
And I think there will be women on the pre-show. There maybe like a 6-woman tag or something, something like that. And it'll be fine. But we need something like with a little bit of oomph behind it that AEW says, okay, like, we hear you. We're behind you. Here you go. And honestly, the belt that they introduced for the International Continental merger, whatever we're calling it, is ugly. And so you could very quickly, I don't know, because Tony has said a few times that he's looking at or interested in women's tag titles.
Right.
You could just do it at All In. It doesn't have to be a crazy 6-month long adventure to get there. You could just do it. You could just do it. And I don't know why we aren't. This is the biggest show on U.S. soil they've done.
Why not? And even I know that AEW loves a tournament. Even do a tournament. Do a tournament style to crown your first AEW Women's Tag Champions. Because what would happen if you had a CMLL in there?
Mm-hmm.
What if some Stardom peeps came over?
Yeah. They have friends. AEW has friends. AEW, and not only friends, AEW has friends in promotions that actually benefit AEW.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. So, why not?
Jason says MJF versus Mystico won't be stupid. Come on now. It won't be stupid because Mystico was there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. The reception of Mystico on Wednesday night was definitely a wrestling made me cry moment.
Yes. It's crazy.
I get emotional when I hear crowds singing.
Mm-hmm.
It's anytime it's somebody's entrance song, it's oh, you've developed time and knowledge and interest into this wrestler. It means so much to more than just United States crowd. Mm-hmm. Obviously it's Mystico, but it was just even the engagement during the match, all of that was just so beautiful. And I think that that's missed a lot in the United States because not a lot of people pay attention to, CMLL. Not a lot of people do pay attention to AAA.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of lucha wrestling, a lot of Mexican wrestling is not at the forefront. And there's so much emotion, so much passion, and it is hard to not recognize.
Yeah.
And it should translate better here because we're very emotional here.
We are very emotional. Something about this Grand Slam Mexico show was all of this emotional stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was Hangman and it was Brody and it was Mystico and it was the whole show felt I don't even know what the right adjective is. it felt a little bit like turning a page in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're like in a new period, which presumably is a boom period if we're going by ratings, which you guys know I don't take to heart. And so it sucks to see so many of the old tropes continuing, like with the women's division and with MJF. I don't want to rant about MJF anymore, but so we have another super chat from Leiron Ford who says TK has taught the audience that women's wrestling isn't important based on how he's presented it. He has a lot of work to do to change that perception, and there's no better place to do that than All In. I 100% agree.
Are you reading my diary?
This is actually like your burner.
Yeah.
No, I 100% agree. The thing is, every time there's an argument, right, in wrestling, you know, amongst fans mostly about women's wrestling, it's always like women don't sell as much merch and they don't get as much audience. The audience dips when they're on screen. But the problem is that if you book women's, like it's a big show, right? Even on a week to week, it's 2 hours. So if you put the women in the death slot where their match doesn't have anything behind it, it's just there to tick a box, people are going to go to the bathroom. They're not going to invest in your talent and they're not going to buy the merch or buy the meet and greets or anything like that because like they're not doing anything.
Right.
And it's not the women's fault. It's like, that's just what happens. But if you book them, as we've seen with Toni Storm, who's the biggest star in AEW right now, if you book them like they mean something, fans are willing to accept that, especially AEW's audience, which by and large seems to be more into women's wrestling taken seriously than other sectors of the wrestling audience. And I won't elaborate on that, but we can follow my logic, right? And so it just, I don't get it.
All in all, we have very skilled, very experienced wrestlers mixed in with newer wrestlers.
Yeah.
I don't want to say like wrestlers like Julia Hart and Sky Blue are like new wrestlers. They're just young. But that's like the sign of a good, healthy division is having young wrestlers and veteran wrestlers. And then people working behind the scenes who have been there because they have that in AEW. So having that missing piece where you have a great roster, you've signed some really great people, they're doing stuff, they're doing cross-promotional things. I mean, my God, Deonna Purrazzo. I'm going to just talk about Deonna Purrazzo for forever because Deonna Purrazzo is in like a freaking commercial and yet we're getting squash matches or 3 weeks ago during Fyter Fest, you had 4 hours of AEW television and you didn't even have a quarter of an hour dedicated to women's wrestling. That is shitty. That's bullshit. And I feel like, I don't know people's travel schedules. I don't know if things had to be cut or rewritten, but having like multiple MJF and the Hurt Syndicate segments, but then not booking women even 15 minutes. That's insane.
Yeah. Well, and I will say it does feel like AEW, and I guess maybe it's Tony Khan, in the last couple months has sort of surveyed the scene and said, what do AEW fans, the majority of them, really enjoy? And it's Hangman. Yeah. And so, Swerve and Will Ospreay as well. It's Kenny Omega. And it's Toni Storm and Mercedes Moné. And I don't fault him for that because that's what AEW fans pop for the most.
Sure.
But now, and I don't know if anybody else feels this way, it feels like they've backed themselves into a corner, not just because both women's titles are in one match.
Right.
But now you have to pick. Is it Tony or is it Mercedes? Because like both of those choices have consequences for the women's division in the long run, but can have benefits for what depending on how you do it. But it's like such a difficult choice. And Leiron with another super chat. Thank you so much. It says the way Deonna has been treated in AEW is nothing short of criminal. She should be a top name in the division based on her pedigree alone. I agree. Deonna came in and they were like, okay, we're positioning her as a top star in the division. And she had that great program. She had a program with Britt, and then she had one with Serena. And then kind of done nothing since, apart from like these random matches here and there.
Well, she had that feud with Tony because they go way back. And I was like, oh, this is where we're going to dethrone Tony. Like, Deonna is going to come, and nothing happened.
Yeah.
And then she partnered with Taya Valkyrie, and I was like, great, we're going to actually use Taya. Like, we're going to go into this reign. And then all of a sudden it was nothing, crickets. And then now she's on Ring of Honor television, which is not, I want to say this as someone who watches Ring of Honor, talks about Ring of Honor, reviews Ring of Honor. Going from AWTV to Ring of Honor is not a death sentence. It is not a demotion. They're still getting paid the same. The crowd is virtually the same because they, they do it before and after AEW shows. However, it is not spotlighted in the way that it should be. And behind a paywall does hurt when it's not featured in the way that it should be. It is not advertised in the way that it should be. So using all these filler segments for storylines that we don't care about, like MJF. I keep saying it. But then having like Deonna Purrazzo back on Ring of Honor, former Ring of Honor Women's Champion, mind you.
Yeah.
One of the best women's champions. And it's not like heavily advertised on AEW TV. Like, oh, this is where Deonna is. Like, you're making me forget her. And I don't want to forget her. And
my thing is, Deonna can go in the ring, no matter what people say. I think Deonna is an excellent wrestler. And you could have had Deonna, maybe she wouldn't be as over as Mercedes or Tony, which, I mean, it's very rare to get someone as over as Mercedes and Tony, regardless of gender. But she could have been a key player that you could slot in anywhere. You could have slotted her in with Athena, and it'd be gold. I mean, you still can, Tony. Don't get me wrong. You could still do that. I won't judge you. I would be very appreciative if you did that, actually. But I don't know. It's like this weird thing. And I'm glad that Megan Bayne, through like circumstance, has fallen into the tag team with Penelope, because it's kind of kept her out of that trap of, showing up and debuting and being a star and then falling away. And so I don't know if the goal is for tag titles right now with Megan and Penelope and Anna and Ty Mello. I don't know, but I feel like it probably should be, because you just need it. Because you're consolidating two of the men's titles, which I approve of. I think it should happen, but there's still so many belts in that division. It's like every star in that division.
Everybody
has a belt. And remember when AEW first started and they were like, titles matter.
Yeah. Winning matters. Yeah. Winning percentages matter.
Who, what, when, and where, buddy? Because as far as I'm concerned, we got a world title in a briefcase and 50 bajillion mid-card titles.
Yeah.
50 bajillion of them. If you include ROH, that's like 100 bajillion. Trios. Samoa Joe, I guess. And tag, which is now mixed up with whatever this MJF story is. Which they've completely lost the plot on this Hurt Syndicate thing. They've come out, and I'm more confused than I was when they started.
Right.
We're like spiraling the drain. I'm just like, hello.
Right.
I don't know.
I just feel like the tag division doesn't really matter as much as it used to, and I hate that, because that's why we got the trios belts.
Yeah. Which also don't matter now. They matter more now than they did in the past, I think, because Samoa Joe.
Well, Samoa Joe makes everything.
He makes everything better.
Yeah.
I'm so glad Joe is back, but also we need something. And then also, Mike is right. Cedric Alexander with TNA, which
the fact that he came out with Ali, and I'm just remembering those 205 live matches that needed they needed the height of a main event because they were so good.
Yeah. But I don't know. I am very, very intrigued by Hangman Swerve. And Will Ospreay, he's there too. But mainly Hangman Swerve. Okay, here's like the ultimate early preview question though. Well, I guess it's a two-parter. One, because it's been a debate on social media, do they start the show with Hangman Mox? Two, does Hangman beat Mox?
Yes. I want it purely because I'm a selfish person.
Yes. I think if Hangman Mox starts the show or is anywhere but the main event, Hangman is losing. But if it's the main event, no better way to close the show than with Hangman winning. I think, but I'm also very confused on Tony Mercedes, and I can't say this enough. What? I'm very confused by them having Mercedes win the Owen, and I don't think no explanation will ever make me understand the rationale.
You're right.
But now it's like, okay, are you going to let Tony beat Mercedes?
Right.
Or is Mercedes going to beat Tony and then become Thanos and just like steamroll? Because he lost one title and has subsequently gained 50 bajillion.
Right.
So, like,
Can I just tell you though, I think it's hilarious that you said Thanos, because that is the one Marvel movie where Endgame happens, right? And I was screaming, I hate it. I hate Thanos so much. I've always hated Thanos. But I love the analogy that like having all power, all belts makes you
would though. If Mercedes gets the women's world title and has the TBS and like all the belts she has, that's basically the snap. Like she's just,
oh my God,
everybody's dead. Because Tony in AEW at least is the only one that like goes toe to toe with Mercedes for star power. And so she is Thanos. That's like when Thanos and Thor were squaring off and Thor missed. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Thanos goes, you should have gone for the head. That's this match. If Mercedes beats Tony. The analogy is fitting. And you know what Thanos did? He killed all the Asgardians.
It's true.
It's true. All the people who don't watch Marvel are like, what the hell is going
exactly.
They're all like, what are you talking about?
But in the end, he does get his head.
Yeah, after everybody Thor loves is dead.
Yeah.
But it's okay. So sorry for like the 6-year late Endgame spoilers.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I think Chesmosis says, does this make Tony Storm Tony Stark? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Somehow. We'll logic it eventually.
Yeah, because Luther would be Pepper Potts.
Yeah. That makes sense to me. I think
this is so funny to me.
Well, then I think Megan Bain is Loki. Who's Captain America? Willow. She has the same kind of like cheesy Boy Scout vibe. No, we need to someone make an art of this. If anybody's an artist, get the Avengers and then
no AI shit.
No AI, real shit. Art. And do them as AW.
I'm open to different iterations, but
me too. I'm just curious what people think. But I personally, if I was Tony Khan, and this is going to be controversial given what I've seen in the chat, so I'm very sorry. Mercedes is not beating Tony Storm. If I'm Tony Khan, it's not happening.
Who then beats Tony?
Well, I'm saving Tony for Megan Bain. But I think with the image of Mercedes at Grand Slam Mexico with all the belts hooked on the belts, like all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I think people are coming into the match expecting Mercedes to win after a hard-fought battle.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Tony winning is healthier for the division because you one woman having both of your women's titles when you have no other titles is crazy.
Right.
And also, I just think it'll be better for Mercedes in the long run because these kind of belt collector things are so hard to maintain. Yeah. And it's very rare where it works out like Kenny Omega, where you got such a gradual decline, but it was like worth it for the story.
And I can't believe that during that time, during the belt collector time, was when Kenny was like having vertigo and like
halfway to death and nobody knew.
And nobody knew.
Crazy.
Diverticulitis.
But I think Tony wins here.
Okay.
And I think you could do the rematch eventually, but I would love to see this spin Mercedes back to Athena, where she's like, okay, I'm going to go for Athena's title, another world title. And we can do that because fans are so disappointed that match didn't happen at All In, which justifiably so, I'd say. And so you could just spin them back and you could do it at, what's next? All Out? Well, no, Forbidden Door is next, but you want to do it at Forbidden Door. You probably do it All Out. So you can just spin it back. We can just circle back to it. In the meantime, you could have Mercedes and Athena build a program. They could have, their one-off matches at Forbidden Door, which I think if Athena is not on Forbidden Door, that's somehow worse than Athena not being at All In.
Yeah.
Which we don't know if Athena's going to be at All In or not. But you can just spin it back. And then you could have that be your big cornerstone women's match for All Out. And you could, and on the other side, you have Tony and Mina, and you have Megan, and you have this whole situation. You could build that, and it'll be fine. But what I think if Mercedes beats Tony, I think...
All right, I opened up an article because I was like, I'm going to share this, and an ad played.
Oh, get your coin, journalists, but like,
okay,
that should start on
aggressive. Now I don't want to open. Oh, I can actually turn off the sound of my phone. Okay, go on.
But if Mercedes beats Tony, you almost can't then give her to Athena because then there's nothing for anybody else in the division. There's literally nothing because Tony is the way he is and he doesn't book unless there's a title. So granted, you could, and I've seen people say you could do Mercedes going for her last belt to in the ROH women's title, and she doesn't get it. Athena wins. You could do that. But then the problem is you have the rest of the division sitting on their hands,
right,
waiting for something because you don't have women's tag titles and Mercedes has the mid-card title. You have nothing. I think it would be very bad to have Mercedes have the world title and the TBS title going into Forbidden Door. It's just, I wouldn't do it personally. It would probably be, the matches would be fine. Like Mercedes is not going to have a bad match with anybody at Forbidden Door. Probably not going to have a bad match at All Out. But I don't know. I think Mercedes on her back foot, trying to keep this belt collector thing going after losing to Tony and immediately diverting to Athena, who she knows she can beat. I think it's better. All right, now tell us what the article was.
So the article, well, first they were also confirming that Fightful Select had mentioned that there was that conflicting report saying that with Mariah May leaving AEW, that there was some speculation that because that happened, shifted Athena versus Mercedes at All In to Mercedes versus Tony. Fightful has a conflicting report and said that Tony versus Mercedes had been the running plan since back in 2024. So that wouldn't have been the case. However, I think Mariah May and Tony having that would have been nice at All In instead of, what was that, Revolution?
Yeah. I think the Tony Mariah story had a good ending. It was probably the best thing as a story the women's division has done in AEW ever.
Mm-hmm.
It was like pinnacle. No pun intended. I hate the pinnacle, but you know what I mean. I don't know if I agree with the decision to do Tony Mercedes. I don't know. And if Mariah leaving had nothing to do with the All In booking, which I don't think it has, because Tony likes to book this stuff like miles in advance. He's very like resistant, as we've seen with Death Riders, very resistant to changing course. I mean, I have no doubt that Mariah leaving maybe shook up some stuff in the division, but I mean, she signed her contract. They knew when the contract was expiring. AW is always like consciously aware of who's on TV when their contracts are expiring. I don't
think that they could have held it off for All In because of how much momentum was happening.
Yeah.
I don't think that they could have stopped it, but it is to say, so this article mentions that Tony Storm has to fly to Portland for the next day.
Yeah.
On July 13th. Why would they not have her stick around after All In if she doesn't lose to Mercedes? And then out comes Athena.
Why would she have to stick around after?
I don't know. Don't they do like little pressers and little things?
Well, yeah, but if so, like the show's the 12th, if she has to be in Portland on the 13th, she would have time because she's going back in time. I know how time zones work now, guys.
That's just speculation. So,
yeah. What time zone is Texas in? Someone let me know while I read the super chat.
Is that Central?
Is it Central or is it whatever Colorado's in? I don't remember. Leiron says, which another super chat, thank you. Oh I'm not sure I believe either report because it doesn't explain why Athena was part of the promotion for All In if they didn't have plans for her. I mean,
I agree.
I think Athena being part of the promotion for All In, maybe they had plans for her. Okay, it is Central. So it's 1 hour behind Eastern. So if the show finishes at midnight Eastern, that's 11 p.m. Central, but then that is 9 p.m. Portland time. Going back in time. See? I know.
So does she get on like a red eye, you know?
Yeah, I don't know when she has to be in Portland the next day. That's pretty like vague and broad.
Those shows are usually at like 1, 2, 3 in the afternoon.
What was I talking about? Oh, Athena. I don't know if they had something planned for her and then they were oh, psych, dip. They could still have something for her. I mean, guys, it's right now, it's June 22nd. We have time, right? We have like 3 weeks of time before the show. You could build something for her with enough time. And maybe they still have plans to. I don't know. But I will forever stand by the fact that it should have been Mercedes Moné versus Athena at All In. I do not care people's logic about why it should be Tony. It should have been Athena Mercedes.
I agree.
And Tony versus literally anybody.
Megan Bayne.
You could have done that again. You could have done Tony versus Deanna. You could have done Tony versus Thunder Rosa. You had time to build anybody you wanted to face Tony Storm.
Agreed.
So that's just my personal opinion. All In starts at 2 p.m. Central Time. Okay. So that's 3 p.m. Eastern. So I'm presuming that 2 p.m. start time is going to be the 2-hour pre-show. So that's 5 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 2 p.m. Pacific Time. Okay, now we're getting too mathy for me. Bottom of the line is she has time to be in Portland.
I'm just thinking now, I'm like, oh my God, that's going to be a long ass day.
It's going to be such a long day, but it's going to be so fun. Don't worry. The pre-show starts at noon. The main card starts at 2. Guys, this is going to be a 20 match long show. This is going to be crazy. Okay, so they have definitely a time for Athena, is what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing. Big Man Dogs, listen, I said that Megan Bain should have beat Toni Storm. I had that whole plan, and then they didn't do it, but it's whatever. You can go back and watch our Dynasty preview.
Yeah,
I gave my explanation for why Megan should have beaten Toni, but it's fine.
I agreed with it. So,
but I'm also just gonna say that I love Mercedes. I think Mercedes is a great wrestler. Mm-hmm. I think she's a great character. I think she's doing the best work of her career, and I am very grateful for what she's doing for women's wrestling. But Toni Storm should win. I don't know. And then that's just my personal opinion. I also think Hangman should win.
I also think Hangman should win.
And if Hangman doesn't win, what the heck?
What the hell?
What the heck? What the helly? What the heliante? Could you imagine? The air is going to be sucked out of that arena if Moxley pins Hangman.
I'm gonna tell you, as someone who watched Bryan Danielson's death at Wrestle Dream.
Yeah.
There was no air sucking out that I've ever felt more like that moment.
Yeah.
However,
see, I went to, was it Revolution Orlando or something? It was in Florida when, for whatever reason, Chris Statlander came out on the pre-show and they had Kenny Omega's Titantron up. And I was there when Kenny Omega didn't walk out and it was Chris. And that felt like the air was sucked out of that venue. Because people saw Kenny Omega, and because Kenny was out at that time. He was out with his foot injury. And people were like, "Oh my God, Kenny's back! He came here to talk to Don Callis or whatever." No, poor Chris, but that's how this would be if Mox beats.
Now
Hangman.
I want to go back and watch that.
and why would you have Hangman bridge the gap with Swerve if he wasn't going to win? Listen, Big Man Dog says Hangman loses and then Darby comes out. The IWC reaction would be crazy. I think I'd walk out. I'm not even joking. I would walk out. I would be like, Collins, I gotta go, girl.
I gotta leave. Bye.
I look at you in the squad and I'd be like, squad, let's go. You probably wouldn't leave.
What? You think I would sit there by myself?
No, I mean my sister would probably stay. Angela would walk out with me. Angela's ride or die, you know? Angela, I took her to this show. She had never seen wrestling in her life. And she had to ask me what every chant was if she could chant, but she learned.
Oh, I live it.
But I would look at Collins.
Yeah.
I can't even begin to tell you the amount of rage that would take over my body if I see Darby Allin come to the show.
Yeah.
No. Mm-hmm. If it happens, I'm walking out.
Okay.
I'm grabbing my Diet Coke and we're leaving.
I was about to say, do we get a road soda, and grab it? And
I can't wait to have my just no lid soda just raw dog in the arena air.
Is that what this arena is? That's what this stadium is going to be, is just raw dog in our open sodas?
I think it is an open soda arena. I think someone told us that last show. But listen, Hangman has to win. And granted, okay, July is no longer Pride Month, so they don't. I mean, if Hangman lost in Pride Month, it'd somehow be worse.
Yeah,
but think of the elite girlies. Think of the gays. Think of your audience, Tony. They're only people that like John Moxley and the Death Riders.
Should we be sending Tony Khan ransom letters?
Ransom letters?
Yeah, the ones with the cutout letters.
Like Zodiac style?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he already gets his fair share. Jacksonville Jaguar fans are crazy. Just saying. But I don't think I would survive it.
Yeah.
If that comes true. If Darby shows up after Hangman loses. And so, okay, Big Men Dogs, their justification is my booking is Swerve refuses to help Hangman. Everyone thinks Hangman is losing. And then Darby returns and helps Hangman win. That's fine, but it should just be Swerve.
It should be Swerve.
It should just be Swerve. Hangman bridging the gap to Swerve is a monumental storyline moment that you can't... If you have Swerve turn heel on Hangman, oof, big time. Because then what is the outcome? Swerve versus Hangman for the world title? Where does that leave Darby? Where does that leave Will Ospreay?
I don't care.
I don't care about Darby. I care about where Will Ospreay.
Yeah, where Will Ospreay.
Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega for the International Continental.
Which that could be a good.
Belt again?
I don't know.
I don't remember. It's such... That belt was a nuisance. It's a nuisance.
I don't know. I just saw Kate's reaction. I was like, I don't even know how to say the I don't know if it's like intercontinental, inter-championship-able, you know.
The intercontinental.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Oh, baby.
Oh, I love this. Clown says, bring out the whole Avenger squad. More Marvel references to help Hangman, Ospreay, Swerve, Bryan, and Kingston. Oh my God. If they bring out Bryan Danielson or Eddie Kingston on this match, I'll be doing CPR on Collins. They'll like collapse on the ground and I'll have to like pick them up. It'll happen. Those are like your two.
Yeah.
That's the Roman Empire.
I would pass away. There's no CPR needed here. I would just pass away.
Yeah, that'd be... I listen, it feels like at All In, anything is possible. This feels like the show where AEW is throwing everything at the wall.
They should, because it's in a freaking baseball stadium.
Yeah. In Texas, of all places, which I'm not happy about.
And they have the audacity to charge people $1,000 for a VIP.
To get listen, where are the Ring of Honor tickets? Are they on sale yet?
They apparently sold out, but everybody who tried to get those tickets said that like there was a Ticketmaster whatever, and it locked them out.
Tony Khan, you need to answer for your crimes, because if I watch Ring of Honor and there's 2 people in that stadium, in that arena, I'm going to be very upset with you.
That's fair.
Yeah, Bryan did show up in Mexico, Mike, which leads me to believe that Bryan might show up at All In, which I'm not going to get my hopes up because I don't want to get my hopes up in case he's not there. But also, I was there for the Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson double debut. And I was a little disappointed to see Adam Cole, which coming from me means a lot because I love Adam Cole. But then Bryan Danielson came out anyway. So,
I mean, I have my reaction to that when that happened because I'm also an Adam Cole fan.
Yes.
Mr. Bebe. And I was like, oh, okay. I was fine with that because Ruby had debuted, whatever. And when Danielson came out with his new song, I'm getting emotional now. So if he comes out at All In, I am passed away.
I am passed away. You know who else? We haven't even talked about this. You know who else needs a big match at All In? Mr. Brody King.
That man.
I don't know who you're going to give him, but push him to the moon.
Give him Nick Wayne.
Yeah. This man is so organically over just by being so cool.
Yeah.
And being actually punk.
The crowd,
like real life punk.
The crowd freaking loved him in Mexico.
Yes.
Like, and his Abolish ICE shirt, love him.
And it feels like he's getting bigger reactions every time, even before Mexico, every time he shows up. Like, people are like, Brody King is cool. Like, he has a metal band, which not my fave genre of music, but it's cool. Do your thing. He has great tattoos. They're all very well done and cool. He is just all around like the dude. And
Absolutely.
I don't know. Listen, people are saying give him the world title. Let's hold our horses for a second. We have Hangman. If Hangman doesn't win, I'm all for Brody being world champ, right? You could have Brody push Darby out of the way to go for the world title, and I think he'd still get a cheer. He'd still get a massive pop for it. I think, and I don't know when his tag team partner's coming back. I do not know.
Listen, that man, Buddy wrestled on a freaking like rolled ankle that turned out to be freaking broken. Let him.
Yeah.
Let him take his time.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Brody King versus Adam Cole. Perhaps at All In. Perhaps. Who? I mean, I guess you could do. No, Brody Adam Cole. That's my lock for. I don't know. You would just have to put Brody on the card somewhere.
Yeah.
On his own. Like, he can't be in like an 8-man tag or something. Or God forbid, a 10-man tag. Oh, Kyle Fletcher's a good shout. Brody versus Kyle Fletcher would be gold. Oh my God. Now it's Kyle Fletcher. Because if you do Ibushi Takeshita, Omega Okada.
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna pass away.
Yeah, we cracked the code. Kyle Fletcher, that's a good one.
That's it.
Kyle Fletcher's not doing anything else. Unless you do Ibushi Kyle Fletcher, but it does feel like it's Ibushi Takeshita.
Yeah, it feels like it's Ibushi Takeshita. Because if you can't go against your ex-boyfriend.
You do Brody versus Kyle. You do Brody versus Kyle Fletcher in a championship eliminator match. Winner gets a shot at the TNT title. Tony Khan loves those.
I was about to say we do love a tournament.
Okay, period. And
love
Kenny Omega's gonna, win his Intercontinental title, whatever it's called.
Yeah, Intercontinental title.
Intercontinental.
I just love that the show has turned into how can we fantasy book All In to make all of us cry and die.
It's what the people want. It's what the people want.
Clearly.
I somewhat, Big Man Dogs, I somewhat also assume Kyle's the next TNT champ because I think he's way overdue. But who knows? Okada is not winning.
I also agree. We have a wager going. We have to figure it out. But the more super chats you send in, the more ideas we'll create. Because you think that you think that Kenny's winning, and I think that Okada's winning.
Okay. I will never bet against Kenny Omega, even when he's like, almost
Spitting
definitely
blood.
losing. Like the odds are against him. You could put it's 100 versus 1, and Kenny Omega's the 1. I will still bet on Kenny Omega. I will never compromise my integrity to root for Kazuchika Okada.
Whoa. Now we're putting accusations of compromising integrity here.
Accusations.
Listen, I will not be accused of this slander, Kiley.
Is it slander?
Yes.
Slander means it's not truthful.
Yes. For me. Let me live in my own reality.
Listen. Also, I just looked at Joel Pearl's Instagram stories. What a guy. If Kota Ibushi is secretly working with Don Callis, I think I'd cry my eyeballs out.
Listen, my ex has done a lot worse for a lot less,
Big Man Dog says Okada did put Kenny over in New Japan, so Kenny might return the favor. The thing is, though, Kenny needed to be put over in New Japan. Okada's already over in AEW. Like, we're talking about guys on, like, the tail end of their careers. So, that's my logic.
Tail end? Tail end? No.
You genuinely think,
Boo!
Leave. I'm just being a realist. I'm being a realist. Omega and Okada, they don't have that much long left.
Oh my God.
I think it's obvious. I don't think it's what? The man had like his intestines removed.
The golden
The golden oh my god. That's new. We're the golden haters. Let's rename the podcast the Golden Haters.
I am so dead.
And
Which
then
one of us are you the Kenny Omega and I'm your Kota Ibushi?
I think so.
Oh my god.
No, I think personality-wise, I think that's where we are.
Yeah, I think so.
Kenny has 20 years left, bruv. Could you imagine? Kenny's like 60 and he's just still going at the rate that he's currently going.
I will Roman candle my chest for you.
Oh, I thought you were. I don't need. Okay.
You remember when Kota Ibushi did that?
I thought, yeah, I remember when Kota Ibushi did that, but you said I will Roman. It's okay. We'll talk about.
What do you think I was gonna say? Good lord.
See, Chasmosis always has my back. Those guys are basically in their 40s. Not a dig at either of them. They're my goats. Exactly. Period.
They're in their prime.
So you genuinely think
I feel like they have like 10 to 15 years left in them.
10 to 15?
Hello? Do you see how long Chris Jericho was wrestling for? You see how long that
bad comparison. Chris Jericho should have retired 15 years ago.
The Painmaker was great stuff for me.
Okay, we need to wrap this up.
Listen, him versus Orange Cassidy in the Daily's Place era.
The Orange Juice match?
Mm-hmm. That's one of my favorite Chris Jericho matches.
No comment.
His matches versus Kenny Omega.
You're about to turn me into a golden hater. I don't think Chris Jericho has had a match that I liked in AEW at all. I don't think I've liked a single match.
Oh, okay.
See? Jason says enough for me. Auntie, did you just bring up Chris Jericho? We'll talk about
I did.
Omega?
I'll do it again.
Oh my god, we didn't even talk Christian Cage. Where's Adam Copeland?
He's coming, baby. He's coming.
Where? The clock's ticking, bud.
It's gonna happen, baby. And I'm gonna die.
He needs to be at All In.
Absolutely.
I won't accept anything else.
Okay. Well, here we are.
Do you want to do your final thoughts and your plugs before we completely destroy everything?
Is that while I don't want Chris Jericho on my TV now, I don't mind Chris Jericho matches. His New Japan matches. 2019, 2020, didn't mind Chris Jericho. So this leaves plenty of space and time for my faves in their late 30s and early 40s to still have plenty of time in their tank. There is no expiration date yet on Kenny Omega. There's no expiration date yet on Kazuchika Okada. The Christian Cage is still going. We're going to have a returning Adam Copeland. We're going to have a returning Eddie Kingston here soon.
And Eddie's going to be jacked, by the way. Sorry,
he's going to be jacked. So let the record show. I think that late 30s and early 40s is the prime of your life.
Yeah.
And I won't take any slander on Okada. Thank you very much.
I don't disagree that 30s and 40s is the prime of your life, but in wrestler years, especially when you're a wrestler who's wrestled like Kota Ibushi and Okada and Kenny Omega.
I don't know what you're talking about. They have money.
They do have a lot of money. I will give them that. But I don't think it'll be 10 to 15 more years of Kenny Omega wrestling at the level he's currently wrestling at. That's my only point.
Okay. Well,
and I think Kenny Omega is going to beat Kazuchika Okada, and Chris Jericho has been a bad wrestler for 10 to 20 years. It depends on what you think qualifies as bad. And I hope he stays away from AEW forever. Someone said golden haters, and like a key was turned in my brain.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let it all out.
We should make shirts. I'm into it. So, but yeah, if you want to follow me on all social media _queer auntie, I am live streaming Thursdays through Tuesdays, except I didn't last night because I was going to go to the show last night. That's why. And I didn't end up going to the wrestling show last night. But anyways, all to say, I'm streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/queerauntie. Love Island. Oh my God. We didn't even talk about Love Island. Did you start it?
Not yet. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to, you have to give me your sister's phone number. Because we've just been talking vaguely on Instagram about it, because this season of Love Island is such a mess and I love it. And if you want to chat with me, hang out with me over on twitch.tv/queerauntie. Period.
You can follow me on Blue Sky at Kiley Wrestling. Right now my posting is a mess because I'm rage posting for a lot. I have a lot of rage in me, but it's okay.
That's okay. Golden hater.
I'm a golden hater. But listen, I'm back from my work trip. I'm catching up on wrestling. I'm gonna be posting a lot about wrestling. It's all good. So follow me at Kiley Wrestling. This is Wrestling Made Me Cry. It's a show every week where me and Auntie Collins come and we talk about the things in wrestling that made us cry. And apparently we turned a corner this week, and now we're going to talk about the things in wrestling that we hate. So if you like that kind of stuff, make sure to follow both of us on social media and subscribe to Fightful Overbooked, which is, Fightful Overbooked is a channel. It's certainly a channel. I will say that. It's full of variety, wrestling shows, non-wrestling shows, different kinds of shows, commentary, news, all sorts of things. So subscribe to Fightful Overbooked. If you're watching this after we go live, hi. I still want to know what you have to say. You can comment below, like the video, do all the things, YouTube etiquette. You know the rules. YouTube's been around for 20 years. You don't need me to tell you. But yeah, all that being said, thank you guys so much for joining us, the golden haters here on Wrestling We're live every Sunday at noon Eastern, which 11 Central, which 9 a.m. Pacific, 6 a.m. in Hawaii, 5 p.m. in Britain Standard Time, 6 p.m. in Germany. I can keep going. I know my time zones now. I had to learn them because we live on the opposite sides of the country. So, thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.